Uist is gearing up to vote for our next MP on July 4th. and Pàipear sat down to speak to the candidates and find out how they'll work for Uist.
I'm Jamie Dobson. I've been associated with Uist in Lewis all my life. I had a career in the Navy, and then I had a career running a consultancy business. Then I did a short spell as an extremely mature student at Glasgow University. And then I moved to Lewis. I got involved initially in the Liberal Democrat Party because the Liberal Democrat Party were running they were the sort of organisational core of the element of Better Together that I was involved in, and that was my first political campaign, was with Better Together. When I look back to the 50s and 60s, when I was a boy in Lewis, I think the Lewis population was rather taken advantage of by people like my grandparents, who were part of the sort of Victorian Edwardian gentry, who came to Lewis for sporting purposes, and I thought this might be payback time. The fundamental top issue we have is depopulation, and that is the fundamental number one challenge which we need to reverse. But there are a couple of Liberal Democrat policies which will very much serve that. The first, and one that's probably one that I would like to engage with first of all, is localism. And localism means that decisions, instead of being taken in the centre, in Edinburgh or in London, are actually taken where they are going to have the impact. So I would, on that basis, I would be campaigning for the issues associated with budgets and taking forward the project of repopulating the island to the Western Isles Council, with the expectation that the Western Isles Council would also rearrange its budgetary arrangements so that community councils would be able to take much more responsibility for what happens in their particular communities. I am a crofter, though I have to say not a particularly expert crofter, and I'm also a grazing clerk. And I have to stand back in absolute amazement at the degree of bureaucracy that the Crofting Commission and the Crofting Commission, to give them their due, are implementing the Crofting Acts and various amendments to it. And I have no doubt they're doing their best to implement it the best way they know how. They've recently come up with some proposals for not subjecting things to the same rigorous, or same kind of bureaucracy as they currently do, and focusing more on crofters fulfilling their duties, crofting duties, which is basically to keep the croft in good order. And I certainly commend that, because I went through the process of buying a croft, and it took over 2 years. But the other thing about the crofting regulations is that they don't really apply. They're so that you've got a nice big pile of regulations, and then you have what's actually happening on the ground, and the two don't tie up with each other. And it is a completely ludicrous situation that only months really from implementation of the new farm support arrangements in Scotland, crofters do not know what the regulations are going to be and what their subsidies are going to be, and how they qualify for them. We've got this tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 business, but it's pretty obscure as to what everybody's going to have to do to qualify for all these various tiers. And I mean, that's an entirely unsatisfactory situation. what would I bring to the party if I was an MP? Well, I would make a lot of noise and bring pressure to bear where pressure can be brought to bear.